Welcome back to the Always Thinking Mindset channel, where we give you positive vibes and simple rules to achieve your goals. Now, in today's video, we're going to have a very simple, basic overview of a book review. And in this channel, not only do we talk about investing and time and personal growth, but also like to give feedback on the book reviews. Read a lot of books, they're very informative, very educational. But let's go ahead and get started on one of my favorite books by Scott Galloway. It's actually called The Algebra of Wealth, a simple formula for financial security. And if you haven't got your copy, get your copy. Trust me, I get no royalties. I don't even know the guy, but Scott, if you're watching, enjoy this episode. But in this book, I just wanted to break down what Scott is talking about. Now, you got to understand, Scott is a professor at the New York University. Usually he's in marketing. I've heard he's a billionaire and he has plenty of money, but he's here to give financial advice, lessons in life. And if you're willing to open your eyes and see what he sees, then you're able to climb the ladder. Now, in this book, The Algebra of Wealth, he is the most basic, and if it's one word I can describe him, it would be he's a realist, right? He's going to break it down to you. He's not going to give you any fluff. He's going to show you the way. And one of his main lines that in that book, he says, do not follow your passion. What do you mean? Everybody says find your passion, follow your passion. He says find your talent, right? And then go off of that. Passion, we can get mixed up with emotions. And he's just talking about extracting the emotion from life and just finding your talent and going off of that and flourishing and just climbing. And in a way, he's right, because in today's society, whether it's on YouTube or whether you have dreams of becoming this famous actor, singer, we have to ground ourselves, right? Because in the end, what if it doesn't work out? What else do you have? And this book just breaks it down. It focuses on so many subjects, and he kind of breaks it down on focus, time, diversification. He even throws in stoicism, how to have a rough mindset for life to overcome any obstacles, which I teach in my channel. And if you like today's video, give it a thumbs up. But back to the book. The book is very refreshing. If you haven't read it, it's very hard, simple advice. It will pop your fantasy bubble. He kind of gives you the metric of how to have this formula. And he kind of goes into building financial wealth for yourself, what to do, how to live your life. But on top of that, he kind of gives you these little lessons on the way. And a lot of what he says, he can back it up, right? Because he has experimented with a lot of businesses, and just going by the book, he says he's learned so much by failing because it comes with experience, right? And at the same time, you learn how to get those reps in, learn how to manage money, hold a business, sell a business, run a business. Everybody wants to start a business, but being an entrepreneur, it's a 24/7 job that's non-rewarding, and it's just like you can go mad. I mean, you can go mad and see no results, and sometimes people don't have time and energy for that. So everybody wants to start a business until they start the business, and then they realize it's not for them. But in the end, Scott kind of goes into that sector, and then on top of that, he just says, find your talent, right? What are you good at? What is natural to you? What can you do different than anybody else? And just go off of that. And that's real practical advice. I kind of give that to everybody myself because in the end, we're all, have these different talents and gifts. And yeah, I get it. I'm not a sports basketball player or, the height and hereditary factors, but I will say I am a critical thinker. I am a lawyer. I'm not your lawyer. But at the same time, I'm just here to say that this book is very refreshing. There's plenty of lessons, life lessons in this book, which I loved because he did a good a weave of, comparing life and interweaving money and life and what matters and what doesn't matter. The problem is that he has a stoicism mentality. A lot of it, a lot of people take that as like this rough atmosphere and my way or the highway. Don't think that way, and you're always negative. And it's nothing like that. It's just saying he wants you to be prepared for that fall, right? Because we all want to do great, we all want to do good, but what if it doesn't work out? He is the guy that explains your option B, option C, and option D, and in the end, he kind of gives you these financial perks of how to invest in stocks and bonds, real estate. You have to learn how to navigate tax wise. You just got to be this super educational and informative person in order to navigate not only through life but financial life, right? Because more money does equal more problems, and you got to learn how to tackle those problems. And I think he kind of gets in the inside of what to expect, hang on for the ride, and do this, not that. But Scott, if you're watching, let me know what you think of today's topic. I'll be glad to come on your show. He also has a YouTube show. But in the end, this is my opinion. I think he's kind of everybody sees life different scopes, right? And in one lens. I think he lives in one lens of looking at stuff. Not to say that he's wrong, right? What I'm saying is that when he tells people don't follow your passion, that's sort of an insult, right? Because you would have been told follow your passion, do what you love, and make money from it, or just live because that's what you love. And for somebody to pop your bubble and say don't follow your passion, kind of intimidating. But at the same time, if that's what you like, some people learn in different atmospheres, then that's fine. But in my opinion, I kind of feel like I said, he's looking through one lens. He's one to say that he's lived life, but in the end, I will say he's lived a life, right? And we can learn from Mr. Scott Galloway, great author, great. I mean, he's writing other books. I can't wait to read his other books, but um, he is a critical thinker. I mean, he is one where he doesn't do anything without knowing the consequences. Obviously, he's climbed that ladder, and you just get so comfortable at that. But this concludes today's book review. It's the Algebra of Wealth by Scott Galloway, a simple formula for financial security. Like I said, he's one where he's just telling you, hey, you got to have a plan B, right? Because we can't all be singers and pop stars and come out of American Idol or have these famous YouTube channels. But man, famous YouTube channel. That's all I wish for. Give it a thumbs up. Tell your friends. Make this channel big. But in the end, like I said, that ends today's segment. Let me know what you think on the comments below. I love to hear your thoughts. Let me know if you need me to have other book reviews. I plan to have more coming. I plan to have more interviews. If you like today's episode and you got value from it, give it a thumbs up. It does help the algorithm. And until next time, folks, we will speak soon.